Hello guys and welcome back. Today we are going to be learning about data types. So I will just clear the screen so that we can start on a fresh page. Alright, in JavaScript we have 8 data types and these include strings, we have number, we have Boolean, we have null, we have undefined, we have big integer, we have object, and the last one we have symbol. So I'm going to be going through them one after the other. The first one is string. So let me just declare a variable. Let's say let color equal to, in string we use quotation mark to declare strings. You might have seen it in the last video. We use either a single quotation mark like this or we use double quotation mark like this. Any way you choose is fine, but all you need to do is just be consistent in your code. So let me just use yellow. And how do we know it's actually a string? There is a method in JavaScript called typeof. Here is it. Let me correct this. Typeof. Then if I write color, let me log this into the console so that we can see the answer. So once I click on play, you see we got string. That's how we know it's string. Now another data type we like to learn is number. So let me just declare a variable called age and say age equal to 10. So you already know how number is being written, right? And there's other data types that is included in number. Let me just assume we have another variable called length, and the length is 12.3. This data types is actually under number, but it is a float data types. Any number that contains decimal point is declared as float. Let's see what it will give us when we log it to the console. It gives us number, yes, but we call it a float. And another data types I would love us to learn is Boolean. And Boolean is simply true or false. So let me say let x equal to true. Once I log x into the console, actually a Boolean. Also, another data type to look at is null, and we use null in the case of when we are trying to declare a variable and we don't know the kind of data types to give it. We can just say, okay, let x be null. Probably along the way in our code we might want to change it, so we normally specify it as null. And when we come to undefined is declaring a variable without initializing it. It will give it a data value of undefined. Let's say for example like this let x. Since I did not initialize it, I did not give it any value, the data undefined. Then big integer has to do with numbers, very large numbers. We will not go to that. Objects. In JavaScript we have different objects. Objects can also be splitted into what we know as array, the normal object, date object, map, set, and many more. So I'll be going through objects in a while. So since object normally is advisable to declare object with const, since I will not be changing it at the long run. Let's say let me declare an object called car, and to declare an object we use the curly braces like this. Then inside, an object always contains a key and pair value. So I'll be giving, okay, the name, this is the key, then it's a colon, then the value. Let's say the name of the car is Ford, so I give it a Ford, which is string. Then if you want to add another thing inside, you can also add another key and value pair, as many as possible inside the object. So but they are always separated with comma. Then I can say okay, the car, then the model. Let's say the model is 2015 model. I can also add another property called yellow. So in a object like this, each of these are called properties. The name is a property, the model is a property, and the color is also a property. You can add it as many as possible, but you use objects whenever you are trying to describe a thing that has many properties. Yes, another object that is of very important to us is also an array. So let me just say I have an array called fruit, and an array is declared using a square braces like this, and it doesn't have what we know as key and value pair, just like the object. It only have values. Let's say we have different fruits. Let's say we have mango, then let's say we have orange, and they are always separated with commas. Pair and so on. So let me check the data type of the two. Say the data type of the car, and once I log it to the console, it's object. And if I change it and try data type of fruit, and I log it also to the console, it's also an object. Yes. Now you might be surprised that I'm using let keyword for this, for string, numbers, Boolean, and the rest, but I'm using const for object. Yes, in JavaScript usually object doesn't change. It's only the values inside the object that actually changes. So it is more advisable to use const for declaring objects. And we also have a date object also. I can say let me declare, let me say okay, this is date equal to declare a date object, we say new date like this. Then you give it the date. You can give it 2024 12 and 2. And once I check the type of date, it's also an object. Yes, everything is an object. Now in the coming lesson, we are going to be learning more about these data types. Notice the first data types that I explained, the string, the number, Boolean, all of them are known as what we know as simple data types, because they only contains single values, whereas the object contains multiple values, so they are complex data types. I hope you understand this, and I'll see you in the next lesson.